Nice of you to join us, sunshine.
Now, considering the last two entries aren't even canon, you might be asking, hey Demon, how many hours did you waste of not just your own time, but other people's too? And that's a fair question. I'd say at least 10 minutes. Okay, so to start F.E.A.R 2, I need to cover something very contentious. This section we see here, and basically all the previous weird nightmare sections are, as the fandom wiki seemingly calls them, part of the Almaverse. Goofy name, I know, but basically this is the way Alma sees the world. Broken, fragmented, post-apocalyptic, and terrifying. The nightmares and the monsters we've seen in the previous games are essentially her boogeymen, monsters to her because of what she's been through. I've mentioned the concept already, but it's a much larger part of this game. For this game, we're not Point Man, but we are a mute junior F.E.A.R operative with cat-like reflexes under the command- we're not. We're just a mute junior operative of a branch of the US military with cat-like reflexes that happens to be a sergeant. As a special detachment of Delta Force, Sergeant Michael Beckett and the rest of his unit, Dark Signal, are tasked with clearing the Valkyrie Tower, home to the Armacan president Genevieve Aristide, and to take her into protective custody. Compared to its progenitor, F.E.A.R 2 feels horrendous. It was designed for consoles and it shows. It's on an upgraded version of the Lithtech Jupiter EX engine. Although upgraded is very much up for debate. You can no longer bind actions to mouse keys, and mouse sensitivity is entirely broken. I had to download a third-party patch to reduce the insanely high sensitivity, and then, on top of that, I had to cap my game to 60 FPS just to be able to aim consistently. Not well, just consistently. In contrast, everything I've played so far was practically flawless at 300 FPS. Although that may have broken the swimming, but that was an issue exactly twice. For as much as this version improves on the last, it's 1 step forwards and 2 steps back. It feels terrible to play. Reading through some user reviews, the people that aren't incentivized to lie about their experiences, the game is worse on console in pretty much every single way. I'm just going to read this review from a rather attractive person. If you can get it working, it's not a bad game. It's just not a good F.E.A.R game. I love that the game delves more into the psychological aspect of horror, but there are some massive downsides and reasons I couldn't recommend the game. The cons are more important, so they're first. You can't bind keys to the mouse side buttons. The game feels like it was made exclusively for console, and then just ported over to the PC at the last second. By default, mouse sensitivity is busted. Downloading a mod to fix that requires capping your FPS to 60, otherwise it's worse. Sometimes, entire rooms just don't load in and you have to restart your entire game. You can't tab out, otherwise the game crashes. And it's in forced full screen only. The pros are, it's graphically very impressive. It's got nice psychological horror. It takes a very long time, but once you finished it, you realize it was a pretty good game. And it answers some questions about the predecessors, even if it does remove a couple from canon. And then, just to avoid any conflicts of interests, I'll also read this person's review. Just not as good as the first game in many ways. It's not a bad game, but the sequel should be an improvement, not a downgrade. The gunplay feels worse, and the guns kinda sound boring. The graphics and the style of the game just feel off to me, somehow, and everything feels smaller and zoomed in compared to the first one. It's kinda odd. I didn't hate it in the end, but I was disappointed coming from the first game, which was just better. I will say though, I think the horror wasn't done bad. There are some unnerving moments that caught me off guard. To this day, I don't know how to feel about the story though. I loved it in the first game, and here I'm not sure if I love the direction they went with. However, I have to say, they got balls for doing what they did. Can't remember any other game doing something like that, Jesus. By the way, not that it needs to be said, but please be respectful of this person. You can disrespect me all you want, I don't care, but leave the innocent people alone. Back to the game, and the first thing to say is how other characters play a much larger role. Some of their lines are horribly cringe, while others are fine. It's not something I'll bring much attention to. Something I will bring attention to right now is that god-awful trope of characters bugging you every 2 seconds.
Back room clear.
Our intel shows this is a private elevator to Aristide's penthouse, but it's been locked down. I'll need a minute to override the system, unless you'd rather take the stairs.
Fuck that.
Hey, somebody sure bled out fast.
Probably took one to the aorta.
The aorta? You think it was the carotid or the subclavian artery?
Dude, making fun of a man for his knowledge is a sign of insecurity.
We need to find Aristide now.
Agreed. Fox, secure the lobby. Red, take the stairwell. Rest of you, you're with me.
The stairs? What the fuck, Top? It's like 1,000 fucking stories.
Like I give a shit. Come on, Beckett, move your ass. Anytime you're ready, Beckett.
Upon calling the elevator, both Beckett and Keegan seem to have a seizure.
Then what is it? Keegan!
Fuck! Ah! Son of a bitch!
He's bleeding.
Damn it!
I'll stabilize him. Stokes, Beckett, get moving.
Body armor stopped most of the rounds, Top, but one got through.
How bad?
Not good, but he'll live.
You alright, Keen? I think they hit my aorta.
Man, give it a rest.
Hell of a view, huh? All right, Beckett, it's just the two of us. Stay sharp. I'm counting on you.
As funny as that is, I have 2 more problems to talk about. First of all, teammates can kill you instantly. I died in 21 frames, but considering this was recorded at 120 FPS, that means I died in roughly 160 milliseconds. To my own teammate. In the back. The second problem is accuracy, or the lack of. Aiming down sights doesn't make you more accurate, and for a less than 10 meter spray, that is downright terrible recoil. What's worse is, I lied, there's a third problem: visual clutter. Yeah, you can make the argument that I cherry-picked the worst frame, but there's just too much visual noise in the sight. I'll be completely honest, the more I write about this game, the less sure I am that I like it, or that I recommend it to others. In fact, writing for this game feels like such a chore, it's taken 2 hours to get here from the start of the segment. I am just going to walk off, relax for a day or 2, and come back when I can write better than this. So, it took more than a couple days to get back to the script. About a week. I managed to write from the 3rd paragraph up to the end of Perseus Mandate section in just 8 hours, and it felt like 20 minutes. But with this game, as much as I like the overall package, I can't convey it properly if I have to pause every 5 seconds to complain about something. It's not constructive to just shove Craig Hubbard's package in your face, tell you how wonky it is, and expect you to accept this big, pulsing, confused, curvy, that doesn't sound it. I swear I like women. The point I'm trying to make is there's always going to be teething issues when you try something new, and in this instance, it would have been a better choice to keep it simple. By trying to add a level of realism, you can accidentally go overboard and ultimately end up drawing your player out of their immersion instead.
Red, where are you?
Still climbing stairs.
That's just sad, man. No other way to put it.
Blow me.
Quickly, before returning to the story, I want to add one more thing to further support my last point. They've added data journal entries on the equipment you'll be using, trying to follow on from F.E.A.R 1's load screens that gave you that sort of information. But to use this SMG as an example, it's clearly physically based off both the P90 and the FN F2000. The entry claims it's a folding stock weapon, despite the fact that it's not. It's a fixed stock. Maybe they meant it works like the MP7, but that still wouldn't be a folding stock. That would be a collapsible stock, and that's also not what this gun has. The magazine is placed so far back that the bolt would shoot out of the butt of the gun, and the bullet casings would have to travel along the length of the gun to eject in front of the sight. There's no care for guns or the understanding of how they work, and as autistic as I must sound right now, it really does show in-game, and it makes both the shooting and the general gunplay feel inferior. Adding an attachment rail to a pistol, just to not put any attachments on the pistol, isn't a reimagining of the future of modularity, it's just making it harder to get a clearer sight picture. The problems I've talked about so far led me to complain, fuck the graphics, I'd rather have this game in F.E.A.R 1's engine instead. That's a lot of negativity. Not that it isn't warranted, but I prefer to be constructive rather than shitting on things for the sake of it. So, enough about women's rights, it's time to discuss women's wrongs. Let's get back to the story. Beckett and Stokes are left to clear the penthouse looking for Aristide, but to do that they have to go through the Aristide collection, an exhibition of art and cultural objects that deserve better than to be stuck in a private collection. She believes that an officer of the ATC security was ordered by the board of directors to kill her, so now that's what we're trying to prevent. The tower is actually a good level, because for as unappealing as some of the dialogue will come across, the player will, in a short time, come to like the rest of their team, before ripping all that away, segregating you harder than a bus in the 50s. The corridors are small, cramped, and other than the helicopter that sometimes tries to kill us, there's nothing but the droning ambience of distant air and our own footsteps. When we're not fighting, we're completely alone. Or are we? The music is mostly subdued and sounds more like someone pounding their way into a room not too far away. Beckett has to cross a rickety window washing lift and crawl through the ventilation just to reach
She's been in there for 12 years, floating in darkness.
I just picked you up on the security system. Be careful. There's a lot of them. Head for the master bedroom. There's a hidden door. Shit. Someone's jamming the signal.
It's less like Beckett is being led somewhere and more like the despair that Alma bears has anchored itself into the parts of the world. Large pools of water are like the suspension she was locked in for half her life. It plays into the themes of claustrophobia and agoraphobia like I mentioned previously. The visions tied to these environmental triggers, if they're actual manifestations and not merely psychosis, imprint her anxieties and show us that Alma is susceptible to fear too. I'm sorry, but as soon as my brain considered a title card moment, I sort of had to write it in. These visions serve to reflect her underlying neuroses. These experiences illustrate that Armor is not only conflicted by her psychological state, but also shows a significant vulnerability, highlighting her emotional fragility and the impact of her surroundings and perceptions on her mental state. F.E.A.R 2 is a return to the psychological aspect. The player can't be sure to what extent these visions are real, if any of it really is. This is something I love, and I deeply wish I could find another shooter that plays the mental game so well.
You think anybody's gonna believe Aristide ran all those fucked up programs without the board knowing about it?
Arriving at the penthouse, Beckett is met with a friendly enjoyer of door kicking, leading to a corridor down to the master bedroom.
Harlan, this can't go on. She's too dangerous.
You were telling me to seal my daughter away.
You knew it would come to this. We both knew.
Throughout the building, we found two types of intel. The first is chat logs between Genevieve and a guy called Terry, while the second is evaluations on Dark Signal, the team Beckett is a part of. Well, so far we've only found ours and Keegan, but I'm holding onto the evals for a lull in the story. Carrying further into the safe room, we're met with a great question.
Sergeant Beckett, where's the rest of the team?
She's right. We went with Stokes, and Jankowski said he reached the top floor ages ago. There should be at least 3 of us here, but we haven't seen a friendly face since stepping off the elevator.
My God, it's her. That stubborn son of a bitch probably just killed us all. Sergeant Beckett,
What's wrong? What is it?
What the hell was that? Did we just get duped? Oh my God. What's going on? Red, report!
Holy shit, that's an upgrade from what we've had so far. We are so fucking back, baby.
get them aboard. We don't have much time.
Your mission was interrupted by a catastrophic explosion that seems to have originated in the Auburn Industrial District of Fairport. The extent of the damage is impossible to estimate. The fate of your team is a mystery.
Eyes are still dilating.
He's reacting to the meds.
Check the dosage. This shouldn't be happening.
If that doesn't work,
What's going on, Dr. Miller?
One moment. Hold the lidocaine and check his pressure. Damn it. Grab the crash cart. He could be in V-Fit. Charge to 200. No, make that 300.
Dr. York.
He's alive, but we're moving too fast. We need
Just
to...
get it done.
That did it.
Stand by with that morphine. 4 megs.
Where are we at, Dr. York?
He's tachycardic. We need to stabilize before progressing.
No time.
He's unstable. Progressing now would be a mistake. You're putting... Set to 300.
You'll feel a little pinch.
Now.
There's a memo by the door stating that York is doing more of those surgeries we just went through, and turning right out of the room shows that we've been followed. Nearby, there's also an evaluation on Griffin, which creates a tie between Aristide, this place, and our unit.
We're calling in all our sources to try to figure out what's going on. The initial reports that something devastating has happened, and we're working hard to provide you with the information we have. At this point, we do not know the official injury report or the cause of the explosion. We'll let you know as soon as we find out what's happened. For viewers just tuning in, what you're seeing here is a very disturbing live shot. We have unconfirmed reports of a massive explosion in the heart of the city. The cause of the explosion is still unknown. CFNDC is just now getting... Devastating has happened, and we're working...
Blood on the floors, bullet holes in the walls. Something went down here while we were out. We only get to see minute glimpses of our stalker/hallucination, a shape we see out the corner of our eye, or that feeling that we've seen someone but not realised. Instead of jump scaring the player, they're showing restraint and increasing the anxiety.
Colonel Vanek, this is Samuel. Looks like we got another soldier loose in the recovery wing. Shit! You stay there!
So she was right about him after all, but that other soldier said another soldier has escaped? Who could it be? In an adjacent room is a PDA with a message from Genevieve. Attention all staff. This facility has just come under attack by Black Ops teams under the direct command of Colonel Richard Vanek, who is acting on the orders of the ATC Board of Directors. Their objective is to eliminate evidence, which encompasses this entire facility and everything and everyone in it. Only the main entrance is compromised at this point, so evacuate through any of the emergency escape routes. I suggest barricading doors leading towards any of the main lobbies to buy yourself time. Do not attempt to surrender, or you will probably be shot. This is a surprisingly warm message, in contrast to the Genevieve we already know of, the cold, heartless bitch that defied orders and sent 2 teams to their death in the origin site because she wanted to renovate or even repurpose the site.
Careful, Sergeant Beck. You're about to stumble into an ambush.
This is a secure channel. Identify yourself. He must be monitoring us on the security cameras.
Well, that answers which one is running about, and I appreciate the reveal of a new enemy type not actually showing us anything. Monolith truly learnt restraint in order to let the player stew in their own thoughts.
Very well done. I see why they picked you.
Who the hell are you?
You can call me Snake Fist.
Snake Fist? Are you fucking kidding me?
Hey, I don't know who else is listening, and I'm not taking any chances. You people need to get out of there.
So I know I said in F.E.A.R 1, the only time you're certain a fight is over is when you're dead. Well, this game takes it to the extreme. There were sections in this hospital where I was getting frustrated by just how many people I was expected to kill in a single fight. This is only the second gunfight in the hospital. I felt it worked in F.E.A.R 1 because the AI weren't brain dead. They would happily wait for you to come around a corner into their aim. Whereas here, they'll just mindlessly bum rush you and destroy you in an almost unfair amount of time. On his journey to escape, Beckett is impeded by locked doors, which sets him on the Herculean task of finding a morgue keycard. Fuck man, that was a hard one. After taking hours to find that, we can backtrack to grab our first reflex booster. I feel they weren't particularly useful in this game, but without them, there's no point in exploring in a sequel to a game where exploration was just as fun as the rest of the experience. Real Time Demon wants to complain about something real quick. He teleports in. This is default, like I've not changed the FOV or anything. This is how the game is. He teleports into your field of view, and he's fully invincible, doesn't even die after the fact. A lot of games, if they have a scripted moment like that, if you put enough damage into the enemy, they just die instantly. What that less than coherent nincompoop was trying to say is that in many games, if a character has scripted invincibility and you pump them full of lead, once they become vulnerable to damage again, they'll die instantly. It's a mechanic that lessens the impact of wasted ammo, and in a shooter game where your main interaction is to shoot people, it doesn't make it seem like a complete waste of time to have done one of only like 3 things you can do to an enemy. We've already seen soldiers murdering civilians firsthand, so it's not a new thing. It's not some shocking twist that the military force that was supposed to save the scientists from this bunker are actually there to eliminate witnesses, and the entire time I wrote that sentence, I was thinking of Half-Life. Maybe I'll cover that one day, but I don't know, Valve games have just been covered to death. I'm basically not going to touch on any intel documents, but one important one is the following. Diode implants still sending current at too high a frequency. Patient immediately seized. We don't seem to be able to tune the amps finely enough to gain sensitivity without incurring cellular damage. I think we need to look at increasing the viscosity of the medium. Beckett and Keegan both had seizures at the same time on the way to Aristide, and she seemingly knew Beckett too. It's possible that they did some freaky deaky stuff in his head, and the visions are their doing, intentional or not. Cellular damage doesn't necessarily mean total cell death, and as I'm pretty sure that they're talking about brain implants, any kind of damage or misfire could be responsible for the wacky things we've experienced. It could even be that we're in a psych hospital or something, a la Shutter Island. It would certainly explain why nobody's acting the way they should for this situation they found themselves in. A couple other pieces of intel can corroborate that theory. Travelling further down the bloodstained walls, we hear this radio transmission. So at least 4 of our squad are currently up and about, but unless my maths is really that bad, that still leaves 3 unaccounted for. Well, now we get to meet up with one of them, as we join Stokes and Aristide in the TAC lab.
Come on, we don't have much time. Into the chamber. Hurry! Doc, this thing isn't gonna sterilize him or anything, right? That would be the least of my concerns. Hold still. It won't take long. Get down! We can't leave him, not now. No choice, we gotta go! Get out of there, Beckett! Head back the way you came, see if there's another way around. Shit! Just get your ass back here ASAP, and in one piece! I'll hold him up as long as I can!
Good morning, Chickpea. You must be part of Project Harbinger. Only way to explain why Aristide would have brought you here.
I can very confidently tell you that machine just did a thing. What that thing is, I won't say because secret. But it's now time to escape the same way we just came. The player actually gets told what the machine did, but in terms of storytelling, I think it's better to maintain an air of mystery, at least for the time being. Descending one floor, we see ATC setting explosives to the pillars surrounding the room, intending to destroy the supports and drop the whole building. You'd expect that means that the player has to be careful to not set them off, but nah, no repercussions for destroying the explosives set to bring down the building. Looking up in this room is something I unfortunately did, which was a mistake, so I'll show that for a few seconds. Epilepsy warning right now for you photosensitive peeps. You may want to skip forwards 10 seconds. Upon ascending in the elevator, we get a call from our beloved Snakefist.
Yeah, but what are you still doing in that facility? They're about to blow the whole place to hell.
Ah, Snakefist. I was wondering when we'd hear from you again. Why are you helping us?
Because I'm convinced that if Sergeant Beckett dies, everybody dies. It all has to do with Project Harbinger. I'll explain later. Just haul ass.
This section is where I learn grenades no longer explode on contact. They're pretty useless, and I don't remember using frags a single time after. The new enemy type I mentioned earlier finally gets shown, a flamethrower troop that I think has more health? I'm not sure. This is honestly the only time I remember fighting one. Apparently there's only 3 more in the game, so I look forward to seeing that. Also, this is page 69 of my script. Nice.
Shit, I was afraid of this.
What is it now?
Alma, she must be after Sergeant Beckett. His telesthetic profile is off the charts. As I suspected, she can sense him without amplification.
Hey, Snakefist. Who the fuck is Alma, anyway?
She's the mother of the apocalypse. Snakefist out.
This is how we found him.
I'm at a loss
The
for
soldiers
words.
must have got him. Are you sure? Look at him. That's not a gunshot wound. Who else could it have been? Psychotic lab technicians? There's no one else here. Soldiers I can handle, but this, man, I don't know. God!
Beheaded with scribbles written in his own blood. Something from the expansion packs of F.E.A.R 1 that I think Monolith made them add were the cult-like A's written in blood. I think Monolith had an idea for F.E.A.R 2 that never really panned out by the end of development. Also, check this shit out. That's not scripted. That's Warner Brothers manifesting bullshit just to spite me for talking out about some of their blunders. Let's try that fight again now. I promise you I didn't edit that sound in. From here on, the ATC soldiers you come across are hobbling as though they've just barely escaped death or serious injury. Incomprehensible monsters are taking care of ATC security, which should be a huge help until they start to attack Beckett as well. The operating theatre, the first room we saw in this building, where we witnessed ourselves get savagely assaulted, now the first place we're attacked by what I can only describe as corrupted patients. A place where we're supposed to be safe, where we should be able to heal or to recuperate. Could whatever they did here also slowly be turning us into those monsters? The short answer, not at all.
Beckett! We have to help her.
Red Jankowski, brother to First Encounter Assault Recon Point man Spencer Jankowski, and now dead in just as confusing a manner. His skin is pallid and grey, his veins blackened and bulging, no doubt from the goop his death trap medical machine pumped into him.
Sergeant Jankowski died in front of you, torn up by some kind of surgical machine. Meanwhile, Armacom Black Ops teams are about to destroy the facility. You need to get out before the whole place comes crashing down. Snakefist insists you are being hunted by someone named Alma who will eventually absorb you.
I know what she's crying. It's the baby.
There's rooms here full of bodies wearing gear similar to Dark Signal's. These aren't just being examined or tested on. These bodies have been desecrated. One body's mouth agape in agony. We can find a report on Fox that informs us he has a daughter, 7 years old. Maybe he's hung up on the mysterious she not being able to hold her babies because, as a father, his biggest fears revolve around his daughters or parenthood.
Stay away from her. She's mine. Beckett.
Or maybe Fox never made it out of Valkyrie Tower, and what we just witnessed is Beckett's survivor's guilt. He saw Fox get fucking obliterated just now as his brain's way of coming to terms with his inability to act to save a member of his team. I'm actually going to pause here and emphasize how important it is to get proper support for mental health. It's hard to tell what kind of tone you're unintentionally conveying in a script this long, but if it seems like I'm disparaging, that's not my intention. As someone that suffers from like half the shit I've talked about in this video, it can seem daunting to accept. It can be hard to approach people or feel like talking about your problems won't help. But for anyone conflicted by their mental well-being, the best thing you can do is to address it. If you're struggling with your mental health, please know that you're not alone. Millions experience similar challenges, and seeking help is a sign of strength, of wanting to get better. Your mental well-being is just as important as your physical health, and it's not a weakness to go for a jog. There are people who care and want to support you. If you're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or depressed, reach out. You can contact organisations such as Mind, Samaritans, the National Suicide Prevention Helpline, or for anyone not in the UK, you can just search for mental health charities or crisis hotlines. I always found that talking about my problems didn't help me. It just caused me to wallow in the past, thinking over things I couldn't change. I felt antidepressants were giving in and letting my problems beat me. It was even worse when my first antidepressants not only made my problems worse, they gave me even more terrifying side effects. CBT felt useless to me even after I finished it. That's not a cry for attention or to search for sympathy, that's to let you know that even a hopeless, failed case like myself could get better, and so can you. In the UK, 1 in 6 adults report having mental health concerns, and in the US, it's almost 1 in 4. With it being such a common problem, it's important to deal with it rather than let it dictate who you are or what you can do. To round out this message, I'll quote one of the wisest men I've ever known, a truly pivotal part of my childhood, reminding you that you're nobody till somebody loves you, and that somebody is me. I love you. The emotional whiplash is insane, and I have no idea how to just go back to the story from here, so I'll see you in like 2 seconds, but it'll be a couple days for me. Descending deeper into the hospital, Beckett finds himself in more of a facility with cold lighting and even colder metal walls. After just a few steps, we get a jump scare and something else for me to complain about. So the whole point of QuickTime events is to keep the player engaged during a cinematic set piece, yeah? When it's done well, it can be great, and like you're actually really there doing the actions of the player character. But when you bring QTEs into horror, you take away all the fun parts. I'm not at risk of dying as long as I can mash a button quick enough, or if a horror sequence doesn't rely on QTEs, I know there's no risk of me dying. It's a part of the whole late 2000s QTE trend, but there are times it worked. In God of War, it worked because of the complexity of the actions and how they could translate into real-life actions. In Modern Warfare 2, the final QTE works because you're pretty much on death's door, so the button spam emphasizes the futility of your actions, and how this is likely the last thing your character's going to be able to do to fix their situation. Arriving at an elevator and riding it up, Beckett gets to see that the entire facility is buried deep underground, the glitched out effects on the skylights being the malfunctioning, simulated environment displays used to keep patients calm and to obfuscate the facility's true location. With the multiple demo teams, he now has to escape the compound as a whole, this outer shell of the facade, creatively called the Outer Shell. Want to see something whack? Considering how quickly I've died to these guys previously, I find it a bit rude to have this much visual disturbance. I'm fine with my point of aim not being static as long as my reticle aligns with my point of aim. But I don't know, maybe I'm just being a massive baby and crying over nothing again. This section of the outer shell is the first introduction of the assault rifle, and for no reason whatsoever, sometimes when you ADS you just don't get a reticle. It's a consistent problem for me, and I just feel like, in a shooter game, aiming down sights is generally pretty important. Integral game components like aiming and movement need to be flawless in a game regardless of the complexity. If your foundations are shoddy, you run the risk of the entire thing collapsing around you.
I was hoping you'd show up here. Now I can bury you where you belong, along with the rest of this unnatural fuckery. Believe me, a bullet in the head is gentle treatment compared to what Aristide had in store for you.
The entire time spent escaping from the outer shell, it feels like the compound itself is trying to kill Beckett, all while not personifying the cavern. By keeping it separate from the supernatural, it actually heightens both aspects. The less successful or frequent a foe is at trying to attack or kill the protagonist, the more of a threat they can remain. That's also part of the reason QuickTime events ruin the horror aspect. It's a fine balance that, for the most part, all of these games have maintained.
Sergeant Fox was killed by the same horrific force you encountered in the TAC lab. You've discovered that the hospital is actually a clandestine underground facility. Armacom seems to accelerate its schedule for demolishing the place. Snakefist has warned you that Alma's presence may have activated replica soldiers, but he didn't elaborate on what that meant.
Sergeant Beckett, judging by my readings, Alma is very close to you now. You're probably already experiencing symptoms of her proximity, hallucinations, headaches, that kind of thing. You have to resist her.
I could be wrong, but I believe the last couple levels were designed to acclimatize the player to the game before actually trying to establish any story. Consider that the story a newcomer to the franchise has so far is that there's a woman, she's being hunted by an army for some reason, an explosion happened, and the player character may have received free surgery. Something Timegate did well with Extraction Point is how quickly it condensed the information a new player would need to understand what's going on. They put a tutorial, a visual representation of the split aspects of Alma, and established Fettel and his replica as the main threats, all in like 5 minutes. We're like 2/3 of an Extraction Point playthrough into F.E.A.R 2, and we're only just getting the story exposition as to what Alma wants with us, which is redundant information for anyone that read those intel documents that you didn't even need to go off the beaten path to find.
Sergeant Beckett, I've been looking over my data. I suspect what happened is that Alma became aware of you when you entered the TAC, and now she's drawn to you. You could even say she covets you. She's a coveter. You're like free pizza at an anime convention. She can smell you. She wants to consume you.
I'm gonna stop putting jokes in my videos because that's how I'm assuming I come off. The TAC, or Telesthetic Attunement Chamber, is an integral part of the Harbinger conversion process. By means of diodes implanted during the activation process, the TAC can modulate a subject's telesthetic signal to attune it to a specified target frequency. The correction offsets are also used in the telesthetic signal amplification process, which extends the subject's telepathic range and intensity. In non-nerd talk, the surgeries the team was subjected to were in order to attune their psychic abilities and their psych signal to that of Alma. The section Beckett finds himself in currently is part of a bioengineering wing, overrun with more of those abominations, the failed Harbinger candidates. The visual storytelling here is commendable. Even without reading the intel about them, you can tell where they come from and why they exist. The Harbinger program is an offshoot of Project Paragon, an extension of Origin and Perseus, trying to create psychic commanders medically without the need of armor. Notable candidates include Dark Signal, Beckett's Delta Force unit, although it's unclear whether they knew. It also explains how Aristide seemed to know Beckett the first time we met her. Customers that pre-ordered the game at GameStop would have gotten a promotional bonus in the form of the Armorcam Field Guide, written before F.E.A.R 2's story was finalised. It details many things, but two of note are that of Paragon and Harbinger, as well as the fact that the ATC implanted Point Man into F.E.A.R. There's also a section written by the corporate greed bitch Genevieve, as opposed to the nice caring Genevieve of earlier, which states that while the loss of Fettel is certainly bad news for the bottom line, recovering the Point Man and bringing him in for reprogramming could offset the negative cash impact of Fettel's death. Because I need the Point Man alive, Alma must be made to fixate on another person. Beckett is the best alternative. While it's great for lore reasons, explaining everything also begins to strip away the concept of questionable psyche and unreliable narrators. Like I said with Perseus Mandate, when you know that everything is real and it's actually happening, it removes the anxiety and fear, while simplifying the narrative. It made the jump scares of Perseus Mandate straight up goofy, but with how much emphasis this game puts on mental fortitude, it's a situation where I feel it undercuts the later story. Consider the Halloween franchise. Michael Myers is way more terrifying when he's just the Shape. By not speaking and always wearing a mask, we can't connect with him or his emotions. It makes him less of a human and more of a supernatural entity of evil and malice. It's the same thing that causes people to be terrified by clowns, because they're no longer readable, they're hiding behind a fake smile. Quite literally in the case of clowns. If the story followed a character called Laurie Myers, and one of the very first lines was, "Hey, didn't your brother stab your sister to death around this time all those years ago?" the story would lose its biggest hook. Instead of allowing the reader to piece together the narrative, to draw their own conclusions, and to experience the thrills and spooks, spoon-feeding information leaves the audience passive rather than active. The narrative becomes a predictable, linear progression, devoid of the subtle nuances and the emotional depth that comes from uncovering meanings and intentions yourself. It removes the investment you've built up to that point, and if there's no reason to be invested, why would you stick around? Instead of telling you it's a bad device, I can explain to you why I think it's misused, and through my explanations and nuance, you can come to your own decision on it. It's the exact same for films, games, and books. You don't want to tell someone what to think. You want to tell them why they should think the way you want them to. I'm sure I've made my point, but I want to cover one other instance real quick because it relates much better. The TV show Life on Mars, following DCI Sam Tyler in 2006. After an argument with his co-worker and girlfriend Maya, she gets abducted by the person that they're investigating and likely has no more than a day or two before she's murdered. Tyler breaks down from the situation, pulling over on the side of the road and stepping out of his car to clear his head, where he gets hit by a speeding car driving the wrong way. With the force he's hit, it's hard to tell whether it should have been lethal or not, and the visions he sees could be him reliving his past moments before dying, or they could be a hallucination brought on from the stress of everything going wrong.
Charged to 200 joules. Is that clear?
When he wakes up, he finds himself in Manchester in the 70s, and throughout the entire show, he has to work out whether he should kill himself in the hopes that he wakes up in his own time.
I have to stress to you that Sam is in low responsiveness, but is not in a persistent vegetative state, although he has suffered a severe cranial trauma.
Hey, you're talking about me? I'm here, I can hear you, look at me, I'm here!
At times, however, he moves.
Whether he's actually back in the 70s, and killing himself would just kill him, no return to his previous life.
Sam, can you hear me? My name is Neil. I'm a hypnotherapist. I'm speaking directly to your subconscious. At this moment, I'm sitting beside you in your bed. You only need to take that definitive step.
During his time in the 70s, he can hear the voices of his loved ones and of his doctors, but the actions he takes also appear to affect what happens in the future. If the intentions in the overarching story were explained to the viewer, there'd be no anxiety or worry that he'd turn out to be wrong in his choice. The viewer would either be indifferent that he's making the right choice, or annoyed that he's wrong and being an idiot.
I'm in a coma! I'm gonna take the definitive step I need to wake up!
Neil's my ex! He did psychology with me. I told him all about you. He read all those notes you made.
There was nothing in those notes about a mobile phone.
What?
This is just my mind trying to keep me here.
He's just playing games with you. Just look down. Carefully.
Please don't jump! Sorry, I'm sorry! Bad joke! Please, no! Don't do it! Sam, no! Don't do it!
Give me your hand.
What's that in your hands? That grip?
Sand. I was running up here and I fell against a fire bucket.
See, why would I imagine that? Why would I bother to put that kind of detail in it?
Ray, he's just doing jobs, eh, boy? Go on, shoot. Good doggies.
This is just the beginning, Tyler. Hurts, doesn't it? I'm enjoying this. You're all skin and bone.
Rag and bone. Rag and bone.
His airway must have somehow been disconnected.
Well, he's stable now. Right.
Good night, Doctor.
You were lucky that time, Tyler. Now your life's in my hands. And your luck is running out.
Who are you ringing, son?
This is it, Tyler.
No, stop. What are you doing? What are you...
But even then, a game is different from a film or a TV show. By being the controlling agent, a player is already intrinsically invested to a certain level. As much as this first-person view is Beckett, it's just as much me as it is you or anyone else playing. His actions are quite literally our actions, and conversely, his experiences are our experiences. If he's hallucinating, we're essentially the ones that are hallucinating. We imprint our emotions onto him, and through that, we come to fear a being that has no chance of hurting us. The real us, behind our screens. This segment has gone on way too long, but I don't want to risk obscuring the message, so let's move on. Travelling in an elevator identical to the last, other than the viscera from a recently squished abomination, that is, Beckett arrives in a combat training arena.
Well, son, end of the road. Can't say I'm gonna miss your foot up my ass. Let me show you something while I've got your attention. Guy named Harlan Wade had this place built. He's the one that came up with the replica program. Genetically engineered puppet soldiers that respond to telepathic orders from psychic commanders. Fucking crazy. This abomination was supposed to become one of the commanders. Started off as a regular Joe like you or me. The problem is, the process of turning somebody into a viable commander takes a bit of a toll. With the right amount of psychic amplification, this thing can control the replica, but he's so far gone, nobody can control him. Not very useful in a military situation, but adequate for my present needs. How about a demonstration?
In the arena is the automatic shotgun. And you call it an automatic shotgun, despite the fact it is obviously semi-auto. Sorry, I do not know where that came from. Technically, it's not wrong to call it an auto shotty, but how often do you get to talk about a pump-action, semi-automatic shotgun? Well, more than you'd expect, but still. It's a terrible gun, which is really saying something in a game of terrible guns. And hopefully, the last time I review the weapons of the franchise. It's just offensively bad. A faulty delivery system provides a quick escape into the bowels of a replica transport system. It's a place where inactive replicants are stored and transferred through in order to relocate or sell them. It's not long before Replica and ATC are back at each other's throats, with Beckett unlucky enough to be stuck between them. Contrary to my earlier statements, it's nice because it changes the feel of combat, having multiple directions to worry about, and giving you reason for there being a larger amount of enemies per fight. It doesn't last long, so it's important to complement it when it's good. As in, they literally never fight each other again. But it's okay, because we've got a fight with a powered armor unit. There's much more depth here, allowing the player to use EMP grenades, as well as environmental hazards, to incapacitate them, opening them up to free damage. Although the better reason to incapacitate them is to stop them making the horrendous screeching sound that they make when they're moving. They're more menacing, harder to kill, and more imposing than previously seen. Defeating it and repairing the cargo lift lets you ascend to the streets and feel the joys of touching grass for the first time.
Top, I've got something on the data net. I think it's Beckett. Oh, thank God you're alive.
Told you not to worry, Stokes. He's tough like me.
Beckett, Tegan and Manny are en route. We're gonna try to link up at the stadium, but the streets are a mess, so we may have to improvise.
You've escaped the underground facility and established contact with Lieutenant Stokes and Sergeant Griffin. Your orders are to rendezvous with your team at a rally point near the stadium. Sergeant Keegan and Sergeant Morales are on their way there in the APC.
What the hell was that place anyway? With a damn hospital, that's for sure.
You got me, Top. I'm just glad to be out of there.
That facility was built as part of Project Harbinger to turn candidates like you into replica commanders. Although it hasn't worked out too well, as Sergeant Beckett can attest.
You still eavesdropping on us?
Zip it and listen, honeycakes. Genevieve Aristide thinks she can contain Alma, but her plan is going to backfire. Alma is too powerful to be contained. She probably always was.
So what are we supposed to do?
Destroy her!
How?
Worry about that later. Right now, we need to focus on reaching the rally point. Get to the stadium, then we'll talk about what to do next.
We find out through a radio call that Stokes, Griffin, Manny, he's the APC driver, and Keegan, the one that got shot in the first mission, all survived the initial blast and managed to escape the Harbinger facility, although we don't know how they managed to do that. Griffin gives the orders to rendezvous at a local stadium, while an eavesdropping Snakefist chimes in that the team needs to destroy Alma, claiming her too powerful to be contained, like Aristide is trying to do. There's reports of replica activity throughout the city. They've reactivated after the death of F.E.A.R, but there's more to talk about later on in the story. Beckett is really starting to lose his grip since escaping the facility, seeing visual disturbances, hearing auditory hallucinations, and suffering panic attacks for no apparent reason. As a door falls off its hinges, the devastation of Auburn is revealed. Streets covered in debris, lined with ashen effigies of the forsaken citizens in their final moments of despair, ready to be forgotten at the soonest disturbance.
Holy shit! What just happened?
I just picked up a massive energy spike emanating from the Harbinger facility. It's Alma's telesthetic signature. Probably a reaction to Sergeant Beckett getting away from her.
She must be pissed.
The bad news is she probably woke up most of the replica forces within 10 square miles.
Although the lighting system regressed, the cinematography is on point. A new contender enters the ring, being the Remnant. To quote developer Matthew Teitelbaum, after Alma's taint overwhelmed the city, many citizens were devoured by her tremendous power. These lost souls are now neither alive nor dead, stuck forever repeating their final moments. These remnants seek their revenge on the living by reanimating soldiers to attack them, sort of a puppet master if you will. Killing the Remnant's soldier puppets is an exercise in futility, though, as the Remnant will quickly reanimate them once again. Up until now, anything supernatural or any hallucination has been preceded by faulty electronics or a seizure. But that's no longer the case now that Beckett is losing it.
Guys, I got a problem here, a big one. Genevieve just showed up with a massive armor cam hit squad on her tail. I'm sure she wants my help with something, but we're both dead if she leads them in here.
Shit, what's your location?
Come to Wade Elementary on Sycamore and Highland. Oh, that stupid bitch. God damn it.
Alright, let's hustle. We've got to get to them before armor cam does.
This is Griffin. I'm getting close to the stadium, but the damage is pretty severe. I'm gonna... Hold on.
If the monsters and the threat of being crushed by falling debris weren't bad enough, now the Replica are airdropping elite powered army units. The first one is mostly just to bring the player's attention to the Transformers, as an environmental hazard capable of deactivating them for so long. But the second one isn't a threat either, thanks to the rocket launcher the game practically shoved down my throat. Once they're both dealt with, Stokes makes a distress call, and this level transitions into the next.
Lieutenant Stokes has been pinned down by replica snipers and needs assistance. Sergeant Griffin reported seeing a woman in need of help and is trying to locate her. And Snakefist radioed that Genevieve Artistide just showed up at his present location, with Armicom Black Ops soldiers in pursuit. He needs immediate assistance.
It's nice to see that even in the far-off futuristic date of 2025, the Accuracy International AS-50 is still in use. I mean, it actually is, which is surprising, because I would have figured that they'd choose a Barrett rifle or something. I guess between the AWM and the AS-50, those 3 guys and 1 gal in a shed have kind of immortalized themselves. Saving Stokes just leads to the Replica breaching walls to try and kill Beckett, but they unknowingly opened up a route for him to fight his way to freedom.
Damn it, I can't find him.
You sure you saw someone?
Of course I'm sure. She's gotta be around here somewhere.
While there's no mentions of family or loved ones in his intel documents, Top has always been portrayed as an easygoing, friendly type, the kind that would go out of his way to help a citizen in need. Fortunately, we don't need to worry about that, because we get to turn the tides of war by using the Replica's own EPAs against them. While I have one complaint about the sensitivity, it's a great sequence. It follows the concepts of the folly of man the other games established. With how cool mini military mechs are, I can't really imagine making a sequence with them bad. Now to Live Demon for why I keep complaining about sensitivity in these games. So this is 16 inches. Oops. This is 16 inches. This is 16 inches for IDS. And once I discover what I'm supposed to be doing in here, this is 16 inches. To give more context, I generally play games with an almost 43cm 360 degree distance. I am honestly pretty anal about my sensitivity, but as long as it's consistent, I can handle. In game, the hipfire sensitivity, as you just saw, is roughly 550 degrees, or almost 1.5 times faster, while the ADS sensitivity was an almost even half speed. In the EPA, it was roughly 1440 degrees, or 4 times faster. I complain because when games do that kind of shit, it makes it really hard to play. The friend of mine that's doing some of the voiceovers, in Dying Light, if I want to do a 360 while aiming a weapon, I start at the top of his sister's head, all the way to her toes. I still wouldn't have done a full 360. And she's like 22. I didn't just pick out a baby to exaggerate in a point. An entire human adult being too small for someone to do a 360 degree spin is insane. Tangent aside, I've got half a game to finish talking about. my life. That's a really low door handle.
There you are. Let's move. Griffin needs backup. Come on.
I saw her at the end of the hall.
Griffin! Tom!
Stay back! Stay the fuck back! Oh, fuck me! Ah!
No! Griffin! Oh, God! Oh, my God! Griffin! What the fuck is going on? Fuck! We have to move, Beckett. It should be just ahead. I must be losing my mind.
So, little fun fact. This game's cast includes TF2 Pyro, TF2 Sniper, TF2 Engineer, the voice of Han Solo in basically all the games, F.E.A.R, who's so legendary I don't even need to list off roles he's had, and Cortana from Halo, Zoe from Left 4 Dead, fucking Princess Peach, and it's even crazier how often so many of them have worked together in games. All the games have massive actors in them, holy shit.
Where's Griffin?
Just get us out of here, Sergeant.
Shit. Lieutenant, what the hell is going on here?
Fuck if I know, but we're stuck in the middle of it.
Alma killed Sergeant Griffin. You are powerless to stop her. Now you and your surviving team members are headed for Wade Elementary School to try to prevent Colonel Vanek's team from reaching Snakefist and Genevieve Artistide.
I try to limit how long I show footage for without narrating, but this next scene is part of why I still love this game after all the complaints I fired off. Realistic characters dealing with grief in a human way, clearly all affected by both their situation in the mundane as well as the pressure from the supernatural side.
So what happened out there, Lieutenant? I've never seen you shook up like this.
She killed Griffin.
Who did it?
Alma.
You sure about that?
I'm not sure about anything anymore.
Dealing with pissed off dead chicks is a little outside my area of expertise.
Let's focus on finding Snakefist. This will go faster if we split up. Keegan, how's that wound? You positive you're up for this?
Nothing I can't handle, Lieutenant.
All right then, you're on recon. Don't go picking any fights. Beckett, you're with me.
Keegan! Hey, this is your stop, buddy.
See you downrange.
Remember, recon only.
Don't worry, LT. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
All right, Beckett, let's go find Snakefist. This just keeps getting better. Why is he hanging out at an elementary school? Whatever, let's get inside. Keegan, check in.
Nothing to report so far, Lieutenant. Except for another damn headache.
Keegan, we're heading inside the school.
Roger that, Lieutenant. I'm approaching the building from the south.
Good, stay sharp.
The first thing to note is the visceral reaction Beckett has upon entering the school. It could be caused by any number of things, but it's actually better in a storytelling sense that it's unclear what that trigger was. The juxtaposition between a child-friendly location like a school and gritty action or horror can be a very difficult line for games to balance. Too little focus on the school and you get Baldi's basics. It could be set anywhere and it wouldn't change anything. But too much focus on the school as an element for horror can be cliché and kill the vibe. F.E.A.R 2, for the most part, doesn't push the fact that it's a school. with the exception of these videos used to essentially brainwash the kids.
Technology Corporation.
It's another wonderful day at Wade Elementary. The children are doing their usual activities, playing, reading, and expanding their mental capacities. Uh-oh. Looks like someone is having trouble controlling their... Don't worry, help is just down the hallway. Many problems are easily resolved by taking a small trip to your friendly nurse station. Oh, there's the doctor now. Hello, doctor. I've got another one for you. Once at the nurse station door, don't forget to put all metallic objects into the bowl. And remove your shoes. Then it's inside for some readjustment. Soon you'll be as good as new, and all your troubles will be the worries of yesterday.
The campy nature, the 80s aesthetic, and the of putting items in the bowl makes it somewhat sanitized. The normalcy of public education present throughout an abnormal trip is something so successful it spawned its own subgenre, analog horror. Something generally so mundane and overused now, it's the consumer version of running through Gmod hallways away from a JPEG of Kanye. Horror fans need to boycott horror. I'm not saying they're doing it wrong, I'm just saying that my way's the correct way and theirs is wrong, and they're having fun wrong, and they stink, and I'm super cool. Ignoring that insane tangent, the hallways are in ruin with glass and debris strewn across the floor, fallout from the Origin facility explosion. The classrooms are littered with Armacam corpses which are missing heads. There's intel counting student absences and a letter drafted by the school admonishing parents for how frequently one of the students is out. Throughout all the games, there's been a subtle tie between crows and the supernatural. They're symbolic of darkness, evil, or misfortune. This section immediately precedes the psychological supernatural episodes.
Watch your step, Beckett.
Of all the teleports in all the games, this is the best one. I am, however, concerned about the first grader with a beard. What have they been feeding those kids?
Beckett, do you read? I don't know what the hell just happened. I must have blacked out for a second. When I looked up, you were gone. I swear there was a door here a minute ago. I'm going to backtrack and look for a way through.
The musical notation is the theme for Alma's Lullaby, and in the adjoining room, the music teacher is actually playing it on the piano, reinforcing that they're corrupted by Alma. These puppet masters are just another puppet waiting for the strings to be pulled. I will now give you another epilepsy warning for the next minute and a half. I wanted to see what happens if you fail the QTE, and she just bites you until you're dead. You don't even fall over. With the deaths we get to see, like Fox and Top, or even the sequence inside the TAC, it's a missed opportunity to not include any tendrils or roots or whatever. Part of what makes her kills in the game so much more impactful is that we have no idea what the hell is going on or why shadowy tree roots turn people into stripped skeletons. To have the big bad of the game, someone that covets you. She's a coveter, while you're like free pizza at an anime convention. Something or someone that will follow you to the ends of the earth for reasons we couldn't comprehend, to do things outside our realm of knowledge, and once she's finally got you, all she does is bite you, like you're free pizza at an anime convention. Liking to make their introductions in style, the Replica decide to crash one of their helicopters and cause a gas pipe rupture that impedes Beckett. In a nice turn of events, as the only way forward is blocked, the player is forced to turn around, and upon entering the courtyard, a power armor unit is airdropped into the school. For how linear these games get, a small detour back the way we already went is a welcome change, and an event from the retraced steps forming the new path forward shows a further level of care in my opinion. I've mentioned in a few different videos that I unfortunately have memory problems. I think I even brought it up twice in this video, so for something like Wade Elementary to stick in the sieve of a brain in my head, something that I only played once, long ago, before starting this project, it speaks to how well the mission is done and how much this series really means to me. So let's see, we've got Texas, New Mexico, Louisiana, Kentucky, Vermont, South Carolina, North Carolina. I want to say Virginia, but I'm not certain. Let's see, Florida. Georgia is around here somewhere. It's too dark without it. Too bright with it. Oh wait, no. I want to say Arizona, because I know Nevada, Arizona. No, I can't be Arizona. Sounds like Colorado or something. I think that says Wyoming. Montana, sniffing. Good question. That one's Oregon. Oh, it's rhymed with mansion. No, that one's Michigan. Yeah, that's Michigan because you got the upper that they never reclaim. So Wisconsin is around here somewhere. It's hard to do when it's so dark.
Hey, nice of you to join us.
Beckett! Keegan, what's wrong?
Not again.
What's happening?
Armacom Black Ops teams are fighting replica forces that appear to be converging on the school from an unknown location. Alma attacked you again, but you were able to drive her away. You managed to link up with Lieutenant Stokes and Sergeant Keegan near the admin building, but suffered another staggering headache and blacked out.
Keegan?
No!
Shit. Beckett, I'm glad you're okay. I've got to get Keegan back to the APC. Beckett, this snake fist guy may be our best shot of getting out of this. Do what you can to bring him out alive.
Anyone listening by now must understand the dichotomy that I've been talking about non-stop for like 3 hours. There's 2 reasons why Stoke is unaffected by Alma, and the boring one is that she wasn't a part of Harbinger. She never underwent the activation surgery, she doesn't have the doodads in her brain boosting her possible psychic powers. Dark Signal was full of potent psychics, and the surgeries amplified their already impressive abilities, but as just a liaison officer, she never got tested, so likely has next to no psychic prowess. The fun answer is a secret that, by my estimation, is still like an hour away. So far, in 3 hours of gameplay, I've crashed once. And that's keeping the game vanilla, other than the sensitivity patch. The game is impressively stable for being 16 years old. The part of the school that you re-enter has a vastly different feel, which shows us that they also took to heart the fan complaints and setting fatigue of the first game. Snakefist tasks us with getting to the nurse's office, so off we go. In one section, you hear the cries of a baby, just before coming across a projector showing barely comprehensible slides, one of which being very reminiscent of a uterus, symbolic of one of the main overarching themes this series conveys. You could ask, hey Dion, how comes you're analysing every single of this game compared to the previous ones? And that's because I'm making up for later. Cross-faction fighting breaks out throughout the school, all four fighting anyone and everyone they come across. However, once Beckett makes it to the basement/service area, the supernatural forces trump any other faction, ramping up in intensity as well as ferocity. Beckett's trauma continues to worsen, his panic attacks become more frequent without any visual or auditory disturbances. He simply suffers the weight of his actions and the messed up situation he's found himself in. Colonel Vannick's men have followed Aristide to the nurse's office, the same place Snakefist instructed the team to. However, the door is locked and requires a keycard to proceed. This leads Beckett to the administration center, the area hit worst by the infighting. Once the keycard to the nurse's office is in hand, the principal of the school, now a twisted remnant, jump scares Beckett before running to prepare an ambush of corpse puppets. The elevator Beckett used to reach the admin center refuses to open. When he starts to pry the doors, he gets jumped by Alma. I am not entirely sure what happened in my footage, but I think I managed to get enough of my body into the falling elevator that it clipped me through the floor, halfway into the ground on the first floor too. A very confusing situation, but not game-breaking, so there's no use harping on about it.
Beckett, I've got a clear window back to the APC. I'm gonna take it. Keegan's doing a little better, but he's still too out of it to fight. Stokes out.
Swiping the keycard and gaining ingress to the nurse's office, it's immediately obvious it's a much colder environment. There's nothing medical in sight, but the surrounding rooms are disguised observation areas with one-way mirrors and recording equipment. It's obvious given the name, but Wade Elementary is a cover. In truth, it's an Armacam biolab and research facility with the goal of creating psychics for Paragon. The children were split into 3 groups, 2 of which, the Bluebirds and Tree Frogs, had latent psychic powers, while the third group, being Ladybugs, didn't. The Ladybugs and Tree Frogs were exposed to chemicals similar to the ones used in Icarus, while the Bluebirds were given placebos. It's honestly really ambiguous which groups are which, or if the ungifted students were just put into the same groups as the gifted ones. I'm doing my best to get it right, but there is a small chance I did get something mixed up. One piece of intel in the area states that the students are taken into the nurse's office to be experimented on, then given drugs to induce amnesia, reportedly not being 100% effective and leading to intense nightmares that the students and parents can't explain. Given that the members of Dark Signal also have Paragon testing scores, it could be that they were originally students of the school, which would also explain some of Beckett's recent panic attacks. and why he's affected worse in this place than he has been in the other areas. But ultimately there's nothing confirming or denying that. It feels like it was written for Dark Signal to have been alumni before that idea being dropped, which is unfortunate as it could have paralleled real-life Project MKUltra, creating ambiguity between the natural and supernatural, while explaining why either, or both in this case, are possibilities. That's just my opinion on it though, and the case could be made that over-explaining it would take away from the mystery. The Paragon Manual is dated 1997, and mentions Harbinger, which means the school has been working towards their goals for 19 years already. But with how the school is decorated, it also kind of implies that they abandoned the school section while Alma was still a child. I'm going to move on, but it was a fair discussion point. The nurse's office is actually an elevator down into the Harbinger facility, adorned with monitors showing a live feed of Aristide arguing with Snakefist, a researcher by the name Terry Halford.
Sergeant Keegan was too impaired to continue, so Lieutenant Stokes escorted him back to the APC and sent you on ahead to locate Snakefist. You fought through Replica and Armicum forces to reach the nurse's office, which turned out to be a disguised elevator. You're about to find out where it leads.
I'm not going to argue with you about this. Give me the correction offset.
Offsets are useless. This isn't going to work.
It has to. Don't you understand what's at stake? Maybe you should go take a look outside.
You won't be able to contain her. Her power is already intensifying. It's only going to get worse.
We have to risk it. There's no other choice.
There is another choice. That's what I've been trying to tell you. We can destroy her.
Give me the fucking offset.
Okay. Shit. Take him.
You'll thank me when this is over.
You'll be dead by then.
Have a little faith, Terry.
I do have faith that you'll be dead by then.
ATC forces keep triggering security lockdowns in the facility, which gives the sergeant time to catch up to them, clear the lockdown in that sector, and work towards saving both Aristide and Halford.
You sure did kill a lot of my guys. I'm impressed. I've never seen anything like that. You're a goddamn killing machine. How's that door coming?
Might as well be using a lighter, sir. This thing won't cut for shit.
Looks like we got ourselves a little stalemate here.
Decontamination sequence in progress. Please stand by.
You must be hurting for some hurt.
So, advice for life: if somebody's on the other side of a door from you, don't lace the floor with proximity mines. Certainly wasn't my best plan, although, to be fair, I did expect a proper gunfight.
Sequence complete.
Come on in! I got a little something for you.
Accessible.
Go ahead and open the door. I'll get...
With Vanek biting the bullet and no longer being the head of ATC security, this mind-blowing change of circumstances opens both his mind and ours. All that's left is to head forwards. After hours of being told that you have to find him, you finally come face to face with Snakefist, and he explains how he's transferred files to the team's APC, as well as informing the player that Beckett's telesthetic signature is acting as a beacon, drawing the replica to him. Right after gifting the player with an experimental weapon, Terry gets a little ahead of himself. Alright, sorry, I'm not going to start that one again. The weapon he gives you is a pretty good gun. It's essentially the BFG from Doom, which doesn't help the fact that I feel the aesthetics of this game are already very Doom 3. Naturally, I don't think I used it a single time other than this first test. Given that the man we came here to save isn't breathing anymore, and the only other person we cared about saving turned us into a meat-filled lighthouse for supernatural fuckery, the squad make the sane decision to just abandon Aristide and leave the facility. The escape sequence introduces the player to fighting the new and upgraded assassins, and these guys are so much cooler and more visually impressive. The visual aspect conveying that instead of simply going invisible for unexplained reasons, their suits have a way of bending light around the body.
Into the APC, Beckett. We gotta go. We're good, Manny. Punch it.
I saw what happened to Halford. There was nothing you could have done. Let's take a look at Snakefist's data. The son of a bitch was true to his word. He gave us more than enough to sink Armacam forever. Assuming we survive long enough.
Snakefist is dead, killed by a replica assassin. His real name was Terry Halford, a staff member working for Genevieve Artistide on Project Harbinger. Before he died, he urged you to go to Still Island and use the telesthetic amplifier there to destroy Alma.
I'll skip the metaphysics and try to keep this as simple as possible. Sergeant Beckett, Genevieve Aristide did some nasty things to you back at that medical facility. First came the gene splicing operation to link you to Alma. Then she tricked you into getting into the telesthetic attunement chamber, which strengthened the link. That's why Alma's aware of you, and why you're totally pooch-screwed unless you can destroy her. Which brings me to the telesthetic amplifier in Still Island. You're not psychically potent enough to resist Alma, so we're going to plug you into a device that will crank up your brainwaves. Sadly, the only device that has enough juice for the job is on Still Island, hidden inside the old nuclear reactor. My belief is that the amplifier will theoretically make you powerful enough to defeat Alma in a battle of wills. I say theoretically because my data on Alma's a little sketchy at this point, but the odds are better than when somebody's head explodes.
Seems pretty straightforward. Find the psychic amplifier, plug Beckett into it, flip the switch, and Alma's history.
So, Still Island, huh? I thought they shut the reactor down like 30 or 40 years ago.
That must have been when Armacam moved in.
According to Snakefist's data, it's the main testing area for Project Origin. How far out are we, Manny?
15 minutes if the roads are clear. Holy shit! Where did you come from?
Manny, what the hell is going on?
Sorry, Lieutenant. Looks like we really stepped in the shit here. We have enemy multiple enemy targets bearing down on our position. Looks like replicas, and they're pissed.
Sergeant, get us out of here.
We don't have a lot of options. Wait. Up ahead. Oh, man, I don't know.
What?
You better grab a hold of something. I've got an idea.
Whoa. What is that supposed to mean?
Going down. Hang on. Dead Street Station, now boarding.
Subway. Good work, Sergeant.
Manny, you crazy son of a bitch!
Beckett, man that turret and cover us. We need to figure out where we are.
Surrounded by replica and unable to drive further, the squad disembark while Beckett provides cover with an explosive turret. Several waves in, they realise that Keegan isn't shooting, instead enraptured.
Keegan, what are you doing? Keegan, get back here.
Don't you see her?
With one gun less, it's a hard-fought battle. Despite the risk of death, Keegan wanders forwards, entirely unharmed by the Horde's intent on killing the rest of the squad.
Why aren't they shooting at him? Who cares? Just keep firing.
Keegan, what the hell is wrong with you?
Don't be afraid.
We don't have time for this shit, man. Pull yourself together.
Keegan, snap out of it.
Don't leave!
Beckett, get him back here!
Oh, where are you going?
Keegan has finally snapped, unable to deal with the trauma or the psychic barrage that corrupted countless others. He appears to phase in and out of the world we know and experience, potentially being the same fate that befell Spencer Jankowski in F.E.A.R. Given that following Keegan leads directly into multiple replica units, it's likely this is an attempt from Alma to guide Beckett somewhere, just like I suggested with Jankowski. Minute after grueling minute, Keegan is getting further away, even going so far as impeding our path by turning on electricity. The deeper Beckett follows, the worse his own mental decline becomes, being assaulted by ghosts flying out of flayed corpses, seeing the non-corporeal remnants of the citizens trapped when the tunnels collapsed, even briefly being transported to a different realm. Thanks to the treasure trove of information Terry shared with the team before his death, Stokes discovers a service tunnel between Still Island and the facility they were just at, intersecting at a nearby station, so at least we have some kind of direction. The next section is another EPA segment. It's fun, but nothing worth talking about. The edge of the world, Ground Zero, and maybe even the street Point Man stood moments before going MIA. The vestiges we see aren't going about their lives. They aren't doing anything really, and no matter how close we get, they're always the same distance away from us. The Sergeant's trauma is near insurmountable, manifesting in ways incomprehensible to us mere normal folk. It's possible that the ghosts that Beckett can't catch up to are an allegory for the life he used to live and now cannot return to. After everything he's been through, everything he's experienced, no matter what steps he takes, that life is imperceptible and unreachable.
You've entered the Armagum cargo tunnel through a breach at what appears to be the epicenter of the explosion that devastated the city. Your goal is to reach the Still Island facility before Alma overwhelms you. You don't seem to be any closer to intercepting Sergeant Keegan. If anything, he seems to be moving further away.
Entering large vacuous tunnels lined with defective replica soldiers, seemingly being sold off despite the company's failures. The only way for Beckett to reach his target is to take a slow-moving cargo tram, essentially trapping the player in a reverse shooting gallery. There's few supplies and an inordinately high number of genetic freaks trying to derail us, literally and figuratively. The trams reorient themselves and dynamically change the arena in a creative way, changing how each engagement plays out as well as providing a refreshing, if not somewhat noticeable, change. It's a great segment, although was slightly marred by my discovery that the sniper's sensitivity is so low that doing an almost 17-inch mouse movement only led to a roughly 50-degree turn. That would make a 360-degree distance of roughly 122 inches, 3 meters, or roughly 1.5 sequalianales. A mouse movement I'd make in any other game would require more than 7 times increase. A flick that requires 3 inches normally would now take 21. This is why I complain so hard about sensitivities in games. Crashing through to Still Island, still following the path of Keegan, and waltzing straight into an assassin ambush, he at least has the patience to wait for us to finish fighting before going towards a doorway of blinding light. The symbolism of trauma and motherhood could provide credence to the notion that chasing Keegan and trying to stop him from entering the light is Beckett's attempts of repressing the unfortunate fate his teammates succumb to. It could also be conveying that, although the time has come for some of his squad mates, it's not yet time for him to walk towards that light. Unfortunately, we don't get much time to consider it, as the map textures just decided to not load in for me, making it impossible to play. Reloading the last checkpoint didn't help, and bashing my head on each wall to enter the next loaded area also didn't fix it. Although it's an old game, this is the type of bug that's inexcusable, requiring a full game restart to fix. There's yet another cargo train to take further into the facility, so let's just listen to something from Snakefist once he finally got his head in the game.
I was digging through Halford's data on the way here and found a recorded report on Alma. You should hear it.
Alma Wade was 8 years old when they put her in the vault. Her own father stuck her in a suspension tank in an induced coma, knowing she'd probably never wake up again. Well, she did. Right after she gave birth to the first prototype. She was 15. And the second prototype was born a year later. She woke up for that one too. She didn't like them taking her babies away from her. A few years after that, they decided she was becoming too dangerous. When they realized she was influencing the second prototype's actions, even though she was completely unconscious and locked away deep underground in a telesthetic suppression field. So they turned off the life support and sealed up the facility. Just left her to drown in amniotic fluid in that miserable little tank she'd been floating in since she was a little girl. Well, her heart shut down, but her psychic signature didn't. Not many people can just refuse to die. Harlan Wade was right. We make our own monsters, and they come back to haunt us.
Finally, having reached our destination, we get one of the funniest visuals of the game. It adds depth to the exploration, creating a maze from the objects she launched, and halfway through, making her attempts at claiming the player actually influence the path is a level of creative thinking that impresses me as much as it upsets me, in the sense that it's so underutilized both in this game and in general.
Alma is closing in. You won't be able to resist her for much longer. You have arrived at the Still Island facility and must now rejoin your team and locate the telesthetic amplifier. Sergeant Keegan seems to be beyond your reach now.
Take her back to the vault.
long as you can, but don't take any chances. If it gets too hot, I want you to get out of here.
I'm not leaving you, Lieutenant.
You'll do as you're told.
Bullshit! You can court-martial me if we come out of this alive.
Requesting assistance!
Talk to me, Manny. How are you holding up?
Well, they don't seem very coordinated. It's definitely not an organized attack. More like they're all just showing up separately.
God damn, Beckett! You were one bad motherfucker, I'll tell you that. Right through here. Damn it! Hey, Stokes. The panel must have taken a hit in the fight. Can you open this door from where you are?
I think so. Give me a minute.
Keep your head down! Open fire!
Looks like we've got some late arrivals to the party. Beckett, get on the turret and see what you can do!
While at Still Island, Beckett's vision and HUD are disrupted constantly. More than just projecting herself psychically, Alma is now extremely close and getting desperate, as per Manny's statement of, "Don't seem very coordinated, more like all showing up separately." It's another turret section, it's good, and it has good music, even if that's all you can hear because it is so insanely loud, compared to everything else.
Understood, Lieutenant. Hey, Beckett! Good luck, man.
Entering the airlock leads to the final leg of the story, the path to contain Alma.
Man, it's good to see you. I didn't know if you'd make it. Hell, I didn't think we were gonna make it. Alfred wasn't sure what will happen when Alma shows up. I hope it's not one of those horror movie things where she reads your mind and uses your deepest fears against you. That would suck. Whatever happens, I just want you to know. Nobody else could have done what you did today, Beckett. If we get out of this, it's because of you. Once we're inside, I'll need to make sure everything's set up the way Snakefist indicated in his notes. While I'm doing that, you can power up the amplifier. Beckett, power up the amplifier. Activate the console. That's it. According to Snakefist, it'll take a few minutes to reach full power. Get in the chair and I'll strap you in. Aristide? What's wrong with you? We have to stop Alma!
That's exactly what I intend to do.
But Beckett's not strong enough. Without the amplifier, she'll absorb him.
And then we'll lock them away.
What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you doing this?
Without Alma, I don't have any leverage. Without leverage, I don't have a future.
I can't believe this. The city's a smoldering ruin, and you're worried about your fucking resume.
Listen!
No, you listen. We're doing this Halford's way. We're gonna kill this bitch.
I'm sorry it came to this. I really am. I'm not a bad person. I just don't have a choice. You have a date with Destiny, Sergeant Beckett. Let's not keep her waiting.
Yes, that's right. The world is ending, I'm about to be absorbed, and the first thing I do is play with a tree swing.
Why doesn't she want me?
I won't speak for a bit, so we don't ruin the climax. Pun intended.
Why does she only care about you? She's mine! You never have her.
For how rocky I start this game, just writing about it makes me love it even more. Mechanical issues aside, the story is great, the interpersonal dialogue is realistic and human, and it reminds me why I love this franchise. The only thing I wish they touched on was the experiences of the replica forces.
The war has begun. Just as I dreamed it would. Just as I foresaw. Dreams are all I have now. Dreams of death. Of blood and fire. Of her. The time has come to awaken. To be reborn. You are the key.
All incoming powered armor units, be advised the DZ is hot. Armacam forces are currently staging an attack on Command Post Sigma from that location. Eliminate hostiles and proceed to the rally point.
Understood, Command. This is Foxtrot 813. Preparing for touchdown. On the ground and rolling out.
Copy that. Foxtrot 813, ATC helicopters are converging on your position. Take out as many as you can.
Enemy helicopter destroyed.
Throwing us straight into the deep end was actually the right choice. but for the sake of brevity I'll speed this one along. Reborn is a short DLC following Orbital Airdrop Elite Power Armor Unit Foxtrot 813 in the fight against the ATC in the streets of Auburn. Whoever wrote that sentence needs to be killed. Having cleared most of the hostile forces from the building site, he comes to a section where he can no longer proceed in the EPA, disembarking to link up with the rest of Foxtrot. The company's goal is to locate a replica communication center in order to acquire a distress call. Approaching causes 813 to start hallucinating before becoming trapped in a hellscape world that's part of the Almaverse, full of monstrous deformities.
Roger. Commence sweep and clear operation. Foxtrot 813, report. All squads, Foxtrot 813 has gone rogue. Shoot on sight. Repeat, shoot Foxtrot 813 on sight.
Being tricked into rebelling, now 813 has to avoid the consequences of his actions. During his escape attempt, the elevator carrying 813 crashes, briefly taking him out of the fight and disarming him.
Get up. They will find you here.
Can you confirm that Foxtrot 813 is down? We do not have visual confirmation.
Awoken by the words of F.E.A.R, all 813 knows is that he must escape, being required to kill one of his former allies with his bare hands in order to rearm. As he descends the building, Replica pull out all the stops, with snipers on vantage points and heavy units literally smashing through walls to find and kill him. Taking the only free path to slip away, he's forced to descend a collapsed building where one wrong step could lead to a fatal fall.
You are close now. I will show you the way.
The friendly, totally not cannibal voice leads us to a parking garage and another friendly face. Okay, I don't feel like I'm to blame here. Other than Alma, the first thing we see down here is an abomination, and the lovely wall art heavily ties Alma's corrupting influence and the Abomination's cult-like presence together. I mean, we already knew that A-bombs would armor.
They do not understand. They are blind to whom they serve.
Throughout the sewer systems 813 finds himself in are tunnel access doors that the Abominations use to get around, so stopping them amassing requires the closing of those doors. Upon approach of one such tunnel access point, a taxi flies from nowhere, Alma manipulating reality in a vain attempt to stop him.
It is almost time.
Having now reached ground floor, 813 finds his way out onto the streets and highways that were devastated by the Origin explosion. On the path to the goals he doesn't even know he has, 813 must fight assassins and even a powered armor unit, although ultimately they were unable to do more than simply slow him down. Descending even further deep into the bowels of the city, he overhears a curious radio transmission.
Is 813 exhibiting behavior similar to the others? Negative, Command. 813 does not seem impaired. Foxtrot 813 is approaching ground zero. Move to intercept.
Once again, the replica are helpless to stop him or his descent, allowing him to escape into a field of friendly faces.
Our host is gathering our mighty army. You are very close now.
Just as much as 813 has the powers of Point Man, the same powers that were later spliced into Beckett, so too do the replica under the control of Alma. Ultimately though, 813 is the final replica standing, and all that's left for him is to submit.
The time has come. I can sense you. Come to me. Stand before me. Let me look upon you. I have dreamed of this moment, my brother. I am reborn.
Okay, so this was much shorter. At a current price of more than half the base game, the entire story is over in half an hour. It's a fun DLC, it's a great experience, and it's a good setup for the next game. However, the length just bothers me. Extraction Point and Perseus Mandate were both around 3 hours to complete, That's a rather short experience, but still one that's worth it, while it's hard to argue that the Reborn DLC is worth buying. Sure, it makes me sound like a cheapskate when the DLC is only £6, but conversely, £6 could buy you a cheap indie game worth dozens of hours of playtime and more in replayability. Judged together with base game, the whole package is an amazing experience, but objectively on its own, it's just not worth that price. It's half an hour.